Now, I'm lucky enough to have Ellie with me here today. How are you today, Ellie?
Yeah, I'm good.
That's good. Now, looking back to when you were in high school, how would you have answered the question, what do you want to be when you grow up?
I definitely wanted to be a clinical psychologist when I grew up when I was at school.
Yeah. Oh, great. And how different is that to where you are now?
Very. I think now that I've had the experience that I've had, I certainly don't see myself as a clinical psychologist, but still using my psychology degree in a different way.
Oh, cool. So can you give us a brief overview of your current position and what a typical day involves?
Yeah, so I work for a community service organisation here in Warrnambool. Explaining a typical day in my work is a very difficult question. I come to work with a plan, but it can be very quickly changed. And the reason it needs to be changed regularly is to ensure that I meet the needs and best interests of the clients and also the staff. And the day can be changed, because of a crisis or staffing concern, emergency meetings, emergency house visits, or
so there's
referrals.
A lot of stuff going on.
Yeah. But I think it's important to remain focused and level-headed and just take what comes.
So what actually changed your mind to get into that field?
Definitely mentors changed my mind. I was lucky enough to be working with a really strong leader when I started in this sector, and she certainly taught me different ways that I can use my degree as opposed to just being a clinical psychologist.
So obviously education has been important in you gaining this position then?
Yeah, definitely. It was very important, not only the education side of things, but certainly the resilience skills that I learnt while I was at school was really important. And
what education path did you follow, such as, high school upwards?
Yep, so I've done a psychology degree, but when I was in high school, I did health and human development, business management, psychology, Auslan, which is sign language, and history and English.
Cool. And can you capture some challenges within your education path? Like, did you have a change in school or anything that you can think of that would have hampered your education path?
Yeah, so previous to VCE, I was a very painful student. But thinking about it now...
Can't imagine that.
Thinking about it now, it's probably... I'll put it down to boredom.
Yeah.
If the teachers had kept me busy and let me socialise, then I would have been a shining student. But of course, that wasn't the case. I also lived away from my parents during VCE, which was quite challenging. And also, one of my downfalls is putting a lot of pressure on myself. I'm a very highly strung person. It takes its toll eventually. And
yeah. Well, did you find that there was a key moment or a motivator that helped you overcome those challenges?
Probably the thing that helped me overcome, I suppose, being a painful student was when I was getting in trouble again for wearing the wrong shoes and getting kicked out of class and all of that. And I said to Mum, why do they bother? Seriously, why do they bother? And she said that, Ellie, they know you have potential, and if they don't keep on top of you now, you won't get through. So I suppose it wasn't the only turning point, but I just remember Mum saying that and thinking, oh, okay, maybe I can get through this.
Yeah, that's great. Well, when times got tough, who did you turn to, did you find?
Definitely my family.
Yeah.
Although they lived away when I was doing VCE, they were still there for me.
And during your times of disengagement, how did you see your future and how did you believe you would achieve these goals?
It's funny because although I did disengage regularly from school, I knew at the end of the day that I still wanted to attend university and obtain some form of degree.
Yeah.
But I just needed to make that change in my own time.
And for a young person who doesn't want to continue schooling because they might think it's really boring and see no use to it, what's your word of advice to them?
Think long and hard. You can't rewind your life, so be sure you're making the right decision. School can be boring, but when you finish year 12, you are handed your certificate and will feel a sense of success that you'll never feel in any other situation. And I like the quote by Churchill that says, "Success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts."
Great. Thank you so much for joining me, Ellie.
Thanks.